welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Paula. If you're not new here, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you don't know who I am, I'm a 19-year-old entrepreneur with over 5 figures as a net worth, and in today's video I'm gonna tell you guys some financial advice that you should know from a 19-year-old with a 5-figure net worth going to 6-figure net worth very soon. Number 1, you need to start investing as soon as possible. Let's get into it. Now, people have this misconception that if you're a teenager that you don't know how to invest or you can't invest, but that is actually a myth that they don't want you to know. Did you know that your most valuable asset is time? And right now, if you are young as a teenager, you have all the time in the world to get started with your financial journey. The very best way to invest as a teenager is by having a high yield savings account. Now, what is a high yield savings account versus a regular savings account? A high yield savings account is basically just a savings account that gives you a higher interest rate on your money. So if you have a standard regular savings account, your interest, you may not know this, is probably 0.001%, which is basically nothing. But if you have a high yield savings account, your interest can be as high as 5%. What does that mean? What is a 5% interest rate? If you put $100 in your savings account, you'll be able to get $5 back. Now, why do you want to have a high percent savings rate? So basically, the bank is basically paying you for putting money in their bank. So there is a bunch of different high yield savings accounts that you can start with, but it doesn't really matter which one you start with. The most important thing is that you start today and you start investing. I'm telling you, when I was 17 was the very first time I started investing in a high yield savings account, and I have made over $1,000 just from putting my money in a high yield savings account. So there is several different ones. You can use SoFi, you can use Chase. I think they have about 3%. You can use Marcus by Goldman Sachs. You can use a bunch of different ones. Just do your research, and it doesn't matter. Like, the thing with people is they want to find the best one, but no, the best one is whatever one that you use. So figure it out and start investing as early as possible. That's number 1. Start investing and invest in a high yield savings account. Number 2, get a credit card. If you are 18 years old, you are able to get a credit card, and it's very important that you get one as soon as possible. The second I turned 18, I'm telling you, like the day after my 18th birthday, I went and I got a credit card. The thing with credit card is a lot of people do not understand how they work, and they actually scared of credit cards because of something called credit card debt. And the thing is, it's not that complicated to work a credit card. People just make it more complicated than it actually needs to be. So all you need to know about credit cards is that you will get a spending limit. Credit cards is like borrowing money. But in my mind, I always tell myself that you should never borrow money that you do not have. If you are not able to pay off that credit card immediately, do not spend that money on that credit card. So people get into debt by borrowing money with their credit card and not paying it off, or paying the minimum balance. You should never pay the minimum balance. I always recommend people pay your credit card off in full every single month. At the end of every single month, I pay off my credit card in full. It doesn't matter if I spent $100 or if I spent $1,000. I'm paying off my credit card in full. So the thing you should figure out if you're just getting started with a credit card is do not spend money that you do not have. A credit card is like borrowing money. You can borrow money for up to 30 days. After 30 days is over, you should be able to pay that money back to the bank. It's very easy to apply for a credit card. All you have to do is go online and search up whatever credit card that you want to sign up with. It's going to ask you for your social security number. It's going to ask you for some information, and then it's going to ask you for how much you make per year. And depending on your yearly income, they're going to give you a spending limit. I think my limit when I first started was $1,500. Now they increased my limit to, I think, $2,500 or something. But your credit card limit is how much the bank thinks that you are able to borrow so where it's not a big liability for them. And in case you do not know, if you fail to pay off your credit card, you get interest, which means the money in there increases, which is what you do not want. So how to use a credit card 101 for dummies. Make sure that as soon as you get the credit card, you are paying it off in full every single month. Actually, if you're a beginner, I would pay it off every single week. The first 3 months, I think, of me having my credit card, I was paying off my balance every single week. Every single Sunday, I'm paying off my credit card because I was so scared of having debt. I do not want debt. You do not want debt either. That will be the worst thing you can ever do in your life, is get debt. So make sure that you are paying off your credit card in full every single month. Number 3, this is actually a really controversial one that a lot of people probably do not want to hear from me, but I will say it anyways. Do not move out. It's so normalized and romanticized to move out at 18. You will see people on TikTok saying, move out with me at 18, move out with me at 19, move out with me at 20, move out with me at 21. I say that if you have the luxury of living at home, please and please and please live at home as long as you can. This is something that's like the norm for me because I grew up in Africa where it is totally normal to live at home until you get married. But coming to the US and seeing people moving out of their parents' house at 18 and 19, I'm like, what? No, don't do that, please. The economy is so bad right now that if you are moving out of your parents' house, you are making one of the biggest financial mistakes you can ever make in your whole life. Please do not move out. Why do you think over 60% of Americans who move out of their parents' house end up moving back in before 25? Over 60% of people who move out at 18 end up moving back into their parents' house before 25. There's people that are 27 years old now because they moved out at 20, they're moving back into the parents' house because they realize that they cannot afford to live on their own. You can't afford to do it. You live in your parents' house. Now, I'm not speaking to those people who genuinely have no other options. I'm speaking to people who do have an option. I know that not everyone is in the same boat, and some people literally do not have the option to live at home, like their parents are literally chasing them out of the door. That's different. But if you have the luxury of living in your parents' house, live there for as long as you can. I would live there all your 20s. You have no reason to be moving out of your parents' house if you're 20. So live in your parents' house for as long as possible. That will be the best financial thing you will ever do for yourself. Number 4, do not get into debt. And if you must get into debt, please make it worth it. What is the example of good and bad debt? Number 1, bad debt, credit card debt. I think that's pretty obvious. There's no reason why you should be borrowing money that you don't have. There's no reason why. I tell myself that if you cannot afford to pay off that credit card amount in the next 30 days, do not borrow the money. That's it. Now, what is some example of good debt? If you have to get into debt for school, make it worth it. Make it worth it. You should only get into debt for a degree that you are 100% sure after college you'll be making 6 figures. You'll be making enough to pay off the debt. Do not get into debt for a degree that you are not sure of the return on investment. There's no reason why you are 23 years old, fresh out of college, with $50K in debt, and you're making $50K a year. That makes no sense. When you get into debt, make sure you're getting into debt for a profession that has a really, really high return on investment. Please do not get into debt for a hobby. I think of it as school is hard. Working is hard. So I might as well work for something that's gonna pay me a lot of money. So when you get into debt, think about good versus bad debt and figure out which one of them is actually worth it. For example, I consider a home debt to be good debt, like a mortgage. I consider a car debt to be bad debt, but that's just my opinion. I would never finance a car. I'm not saying never, but as of right now, I don't have a car. But if I were to get a car, I would definitely be getting cash car, because I will not be financing a car that is just bad debt. Because listen, you finance a car that's worth, let's say, $30,000. They give you a car note you're paying every single month. By the time you're done paying off that car, do you realize that the $30,000 car that you financed, you will end up paying over $70,000 for that car by the time you are done paying it off? Is that not insanity to you? That is just such a scam. Like, you're basically giving the people free money. Then do it, okay? Okay. But that is basically the information I have for this video. Like, that's all I have to say. Prioritize saving as much as possible in your early 20s and your teens. Like, you need to save your money, but also live your life, of course. But have a balance of both. Like, save, but also live your life. Consider a budget. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.